Chosen ones, pause for a moment. Stop scrolling, stop distracting yourselves. You are not here by chance. Every step you've taken in life has led you precisely to this moment. Nothing has been random. God has moved every piece so that today you would stand before this powerful revelation. From this point on, nothing will be the same. Doubts, exhaustion, and the weight of worry are about to fade, giving way to a new chapter. A life where abundance and prosperity flow endlessly. Don't ignore this sign, because what you're about to understand could be the beginning of a deep transformation. Today, I'm not here to speak to you about hard work, sacrifices, or obligations. I'm here to remind you of your purpose, your destiny. Your presence here isn't about a job, a paycheck, or a title. You were chosen for something far greater. You chose a different path, one that only God could design for you. Get ready, because what you're about to discover will forever change the way you see yourself and your life. I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the divine messages delivered directly to God's chosen ones like you. Remember, it is not your job to struggle to find your place in the world. It is your job to let God show you your purpose, and when you discover it, everything changes you. No longer live in fear or uncertainty, but in confidence and abundance. There are 4 precious steps you can follow. The first is to listen with intention. Take some time to be still and connect with God's voice. You can ask a question and wonder, what is my purpose? The answer won't come immediately, but it's always helpful to use a journal to record the feelings and intuitions that come to you. 2. Watch for the signs. God manifests in situations, in people who come into your life at the right time, on schedule. There are more ways God manifests than you think, so always keep your eyes open to receive the signs. 3. Develop your gifts. God has given you the greatest way to connect with Him through your gifts. Through their development, you expand that divine channel and attract more people into your life who are on a similar path, which speeds up your ascension. 4. Trust the process. God isn't looking for perfection, but rather for you to set in motion and commit to the sacred mission He has given you through your aligned actions. As you continue to trust the process and celebrate the small achievements, you also remain open to continuing to receive divine messages and signs that accompany you on the path of the chosen ones. Since the beginning of time, there have been beings who walk the earth with a different light in their eyes. They don't always know it, they don't always recognize each other, but they carry within them a spark that makes them different. They are those who feel they don't fully belong, that the material world isn't enough for them, that there is a mission, a purpose, a silent voice calling them from within. These beings are known in many traditions as God's chosen. But we shouldn't imagine golden crowns or thrones in the heavens. They aren't always priests or sages. Sometimes the chosen are the most wounded, the most sensitive, those who have gone through difficult childhoods, through rejections, through losses that broke their hearts into 1,000 pieces. Because God doesn't choose the perfect, but the willing. He doesn't call the strong, but those who have learned to love, even in the midst of pain. Being chosen is not a title. It is a recognition of the soul. It is something that vibrates in the depths of one's being. It's that feeling that there's something more to life, something you haven't yet discovered, but that repeatedly calls to you. It may be a recurring dream, an intuition that won't go away, a recurring coincidence, or that inexplicable certainty that, although everyone follows one path, yours is different. Many have felt it since childhood. They didn't quite fit in at school. They asked questions that adults couldn't answer. They were distressed by injustices. They felt the pain of others as their own. Others woke up later, after a loss, an illness, a betrayal, or an emotional breakdown that forced them to look within. Because the call isn't always gentle sometimes, it shakes the soul awake. Throughout history, the chosen ones have appeared under different names: prophets, mystics, visionaries, healers, guides. But they have also been silent mothers who nurtured with love, farmers who spoke to the earth, young people who wrote poems in the solitude of their rooms, artists who transformed their pain into beauty. There is no single mold. The only thing that unites them is that deep connection with the invisible, that desire to serve a greater good, even if they don't always know how. In the Christian tradition, we speak of those called by God to fulfill a mission. Moses, for example, doubted himself, stuttered, and didn't want to face Pharaoh. But God chose him not for his strength, but for his obedience. In Islam, prophets also endured enormous trials before being recognized. In Hinduism, the soul has a dharma, a sacred purpose. In Buddhism, the Buddha was a prince who left everything behind, sensing that the world needed compassion. In indigenous traditions, shamans were often those who had survived an illness or had been close to death, because only then could they cross the threshold into other worlds. But this isn't about religions, but about universal truths, because the sacred isn't locked away in temples, it's within the heart. And today, more than ever, there are millions of souls awakening to that truth. Perhaps you are one of them. Perhaps you've recently felt discomfort with your current life, a need for change, a longing for something you can't name. That's the sign. That's the call. The chosen often experience periods of loneliness because they need to hear themselves without noise. They experience confusion because their path isn't straight or approved by the masses. Sometimes they feel lost, but in reality, they are being redirected. Life speaks to them through trials, people, books that fall into their hands, and conversations that seem casual but aren't. And when they finally recognize that their soul is being called, something changes. They can no longer go back. They know there is something they must do, something they must be. It's not about saving the whole world. Sometimes it's enough to heal a wound, forgive someone, share a word that touches another life. The chosen ones are channels. They are no better than anyone else, but they are more aware of the invisible. They see signs where others see coincidences. They feel vibrations, understand silences, cry for no apparent reason, because they are connected to the divine web, to the subtle field where destinies are woven. And it isn't easy. Many have been ridiculed, rejected, accused of being crazy. Jesus himself was misunderstood. Mary Magdalene was defamed. The ancient sages were persecuted. The mystics suffered imprisonment, exile, even death. But their light never went out, because the truth always finds a way to shine. In the modern world, the chosen ones sometimes hide behind ordinary jobs. They are therapists, teachers, musicians, activists, silent workers who sow peace in every gesture. Some don't even know they are, but their vibration changes spaces. Their presence heals. They are those who arrive at a meeting and without speaking, calm the atmosphere. Or those who see a stranger crying and approach, moved by a deep compassion. There are signs that can help you recognize if you are one of them. Do you feel that the world's suffering affects you more than usual? Do you have vivid dreams, visions, intuitions that later come true? Do you feel a special connection with nature, with animals, with music? Do you sometimes know things without knowing why? Have you gone through dark moments that transformed you? Do you have a deep desire to help, to heal, to guide? Then don't doubt it. Your soul is already telling you. And if you are now experiencing pain, doubt, or loss, don't think you are broken. You are being formed. The chosen are forged in fire. They are not born with everything figured out. They are shaped by experiences, by blows, by sleepless nights when they think all is lost. But the next day, they get up, and they continue. Because there is something inside them that does not give up. The call does not always come with trumpets. Sometimes it's a whisper, a sensation in your chest, an encounter with a book that seems to speak to you, a phrase you hear just when you need it, a repeated sign, an emotion that moves you without explanation. And when you finally acknowledge it, everything begins to change. Because you no longer walk alone, you begin to remember, you begin to reconnect. It's not about meeting standards or being good according to what you were taught. It's about being authentic, about listening to the voice of your soul above the noise of the world, about leaving behind the masks, the comparisons, the rush, about returning to your heart, and from there you begin to build a life of purpose. Being a chosen one is, in reality, an act of love, because it implies service, being at the service of goodness, of healing, of the expansion of consciousness. It implies stopping thinking only of yourself and starting to see others as part of the whole. It's not a sacrifice, it's fulfillment. It's not a burden, it's a gift. It's a different way of being in the world, deeper, brighter, more real. And at this moment in history, that light is more necessary than ever. The world is going through crises, but also awakenings. Many are awakening at the same time, feeling that they cannot continue as before, that their hearts are called to something greater. It is a silent but unstoppable movement, because it is not about changing the world from the outside, but from within. And each chosen one who remembers who they are becomes a beacon for others. So if you're reading this and something inside you has ignited, don't ignore it. Don't question yourself so much. The soul doesn't lie. What you feel is real. What you sense is true. You are part of a greater plan. You don't have to have all the answers now. Just take the first step. Say yes. Yes to the call. Yes to transformation. Yes to the light. Because when one of the chosen ones awakens, heaven rejoices. And all of creation conspires to pave the way for them. But there's something you should know. Awakening doesn't mean everything becomes easy. In fact, at first, everything may seem more confusing. It's like stepping out of a dark room into the light. Your eyes hurt, your body hesitates, your heart doesn't know which way to turn. Not because the light is bad, but because it's healing what has been in the shadows for too long. The chosen ones often go through a stage that many call the dark night of the soul. It's a period of existential doubt, of inner emptiness, of a feeling of being lost. And yet, that night is a rite of passage. It's the soul's crossing through the desert, as Jesus did before beginning his mission. It's the moment when the old dies so that the new can be born. It's not punishment, it's preparation. During that night, the chosen one often moves away from what they knew. They distance themselves from relationships, jobs, even cities, not out of rejection, but because their soul needs silence to remember. And in that silence, they begin to hear another music, more subtle, more elevated, the music of the soul. They begin to read books that once seemed strange, to meditate without quite knowing how, to feel an attraction to spiritual subjects they can't explain. And although it may seem crazy, it's all part of the process. Many chosen ones have been called crazy by the world. They've felt that no one understands them, that their sensitivity is a burden, that their vision of life doesn't fit with that of others. But in reality, they are seeing what others cannot yet. They are feeling the world's pain because they came to help heal it. They are remembering that there is something more, something sacred, something eternal. Not all chosen ones have the same mission. Some are here to teach, others to heal, others to create beauty, others simply to sustain the energy of love in their surroundings. Some will do so visibly, others from silence. But all are fundamental pieces in the great puzzle of human evolution. And here comes a powerful truth. If you are a chosen one, you are not alone. Even if you have felt lonely, there are others like you. Many are awakening to the ism time. They are in different corners of the world, speaking different languages, but with the same fire in their souls. And each one, upon awakening, becomes a torch that can light others. One of the great challenges of the chosen is believing in their worth. Many have grown up feeling less, comparing themselves, thinking they weren't enough. But that feeling was sown by a system that doesn't know how to deal with the light. Because when someone shines from the soul, it makes those who live on the surface uncomfortable. That's why the world has tried to extinguish that light from an early age. But no more. Now it's time to ignite it. Believing in yourself is part of your mission. Stop hiding. Stop thinking you need more titles, more permission, more approval. You have already been approved by the Source itself. You already bear the seal of the divine in your heart. And you didn't come to be perfect, you came to be real. To live from the heart, even if it trembles. To love, even if it hurts. To share your light, even if it's small. God doesn't choose the prepared. He prepares those he chooses, and if you're being called, it's because you already have what it takes. You don't have to do great things. Sometimes a word spoken from the soul, a compassionate presence, an inspired action is enough. Sometimes simply being you, authentic, conscious, present, is already changing lives without you even knowing it. And no, you don't have to know everything. The path of the chosen one isn't linear, nor is it all written down. It's a path that reveals itself step by step as you walk. Like Moses before the Red Sea, only when he took the first step did the sea begin to part. So too will you. You won't see the whole map, but you will feel the next step. And that's enough. Trust your soul. Trust that inner whisper that tells you you came for something greater. Maybe not to change the whole world, but certainly to transform the part of it around you. And if every chosen one does that, then yes, the whole world changes. Sometimes they'll call you a dreamer, naive, strange. Let them. Because those who question you today will seek your light tomorrow when the darkness overtakes them. And you'll be ready, not because you're better, but because you've been there. Because you know what it's like to fall and get up. Because you know pain, but you also know the love that heals all. You are a bridge between the visible and the invisible, between the human and the divine. Your soul is ancient, it has lived long, it has seen much, and it has returned here in this time for a reason. You are not repeating just another life. This is a key life. It is a portal. It is an opportunity to remember your power, your origin, your truth. And in that remembrance, something sacred awakens. The certainty that you came not only to survive, but to expand. Not to hide your light, but to share it. Not to fear the future, but to co-create a new one. You are part of the solution. You are part of the rebirth of humanity. So breathe, feel it. You are being called. It is not an illusion. It is not a coincidence. It is the moment. It is your time. God calls you and your soul responds. Because the chosen ones don't need to understand everything. They just need to remember who they are. And you, brother, sister, you are already remembering. There are moments in history that feel like tremors in the soul, waves that shake the foundations of what we thought was reality. These are the times when everything seems to be falling apart, yet something ancient and sacred is quietly rising beneath the rubble. We are living one of those moments now, a time when the world as we knew it no longer fits. When the stories we were told feel too small for the truth that burns inside our hearts. A time when millions are waking up to something greater. And if you're reading this, it's likely because you too have felt it, a shift, a calling, a whisper that says, it's time. But what does that really mean? What does it mean that your time has come? It means that the world is no longer asleep, and neither are you. It means that the veil that once separated the seen from the unseen is thinning. That which was once hidden is now being revealed. It means that the age of passive living is over, and the time for conscious, soul-led living has arrived. For centuries, the world has moved through cycles, ages of light and darkness, birth and decay. Civilizations have risen and fallen, religions have guided and misled, power has shifted hands again and again. But underneath it all, the same eternal truth remained, that every soul carries a divine spark, and some souls are meant to awaken early, to guide others, to remind humanity of what was forgotten. You are one of those souls. Right now, as chaos erupts across nations, as systems collapse, as the earth herself cries out in fire, water, wind, and silence, something else is happening. A birth. A remembrance, the collective awakening of the chosen ones. This awakening doesn't look like a movie scene. There are no thunderous skies or burning bushes for most. It's much more subtle, yet far more profound. It's the moment you begin to question everything, when you start to feel uncomfortable in your routines, when what used to entertain you feels empty, when the job, the relationship, and the lifestyle you built suddenly feel misaligned, when silence calls louder than noise, when restlessness grows inside, not because you're lazy or lost, but because your soul is preparing for flight. It's happening all over the world, in cities and villages, in the hearts of young children and the eyes of the elderly. It's not just a personal crisis, it's a planetary shift. Humanity is undergoing what many ancient traditions predicted, the rise of a new consciousness, the return of the sacred, the reawakening of the divine within. And this awakening isn't random, it's timed, it's part of the plan. The crises we see around us, the wars, the pandemics, the political polarization, the environmental disasters, aren't just random misfortunes. They are labor pains. They are the contractions of a world giving birth to a new paradigm. In spiritual terms, they are the breakdowns before the breakthrough. In cosmic terms, they are part of the divine orchestration that has always been unfolding. But not everyone feels it. Not everyone sees beyond the smoke. Not everyone recognizes the invitation hidden in the chaos. That's where the chosen ones come in. That's where you come in. Your time has come because the world needs what you carry. Not your perfection, but your presence. Not your status, but your soul. You're not here to be famous. You're here to be faithful. Faithful to your essence. Faithful to the vision you came with. Faithful to love, to truth, to compassion, even when the world chooses fear. Many of the chosen ones resisted this calling for years. They tried to fit in, to silence their gifts, to deny their sensitivities. They studied degrees they didn't love, stayed in relationships that drained them, worked jobs that dimmed their light. But the soul doesn't forget. And now, more than ever, it is rising to the surface. You may have noticed the symptoms. Emotional waves you can't explain, heightened intuition, vivid dreams, sudden desires to change your life completely, a deep sense of urgency, or a strange peace in the middle of chaos. You may have lost people recently, let go of what once defined you. These are not coincidences. These are the signs of initiation, the marks of awakening. The awakening is not just spiritual, it is total. It touches every layer of your being. Mentally, you begin to break free from limiting beliefs, from inherited patterns, from cultural conditioning. Emotionally, you begin to feel more deeply, cry more often, forgive more easily. Energetically, you start to sense vibrations, alignments, dissonance between places, people, and choices. Spiritually, you begin to crave the sacred again, not as religion, but as a way of life. This is your moment to remember who you are, to reclaim your soul's truth, to stand not as a follower of systems, but as a leader of light. And yet, with this awakening comes responsibility. Not pressure, not perfectionism, but alignment. Because now that you know, you cannot pretend you don't. Now that you see, you cannot walk blindly. You are being invited to live from the heart, to lead not with force, but with frequency, to speak truth even when it trembles on your lips, to act with courage even when fear knocks at your door. You don't need to save the world. That's not your burden. You only need to say yes to your own transformation. Because your shift ripples outward. When one soul remembers, it creates a field where others begin to remember too. Your healing becomes medicine for others. Your authenticity becomes permission. Your presence becomes a portal. And how do you prepare for this role, this moment, this sacred task? You don't need a manual. You only need to listen. Listen to your body, what it needs, what it's shedding. Listen to your dreams, what they're whispering at night. Listen to your intuition, the quiet voice that has always known the way. Listen to life itself, how it arranges meetings, endings, beginnings, and signs to guide you. Return to the simple. Eat what nourishes you. Move in ways that awaken you. Meditate, breathe, write, create. Be with nature. Rest. Let go of what no longer aligns. Make room for grace. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on time. The world is ready for you. Not the you that wears masks, but the real you, the one that is wild, loving, wise, sensitive and strong. The one that sees beyond appearances and remembers the sacred in all things. And yes, you will doubt. You will stumble. You will wonder if you're crazy. That's normal. Awakening is not a straight line. It is a spiral. Some days you'll feel radiant. On other days you'll want to hide. But through it all, you are being guided. You are being held. You are being prepared. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more presence, more kindness, more sacred action. That is your task. To be a living answer to the crisis. To be calm in the storm, the whisper in the scream, the light in the dark. You're not here by accident. Your soul chose this time, this body, this exact moment in history. You carry codes, wisdom, medicine that this world desperately needs. Don't underestimate that. Don't hide it. Don't wait for someone else to lead. You are it. You are the one you were waiting for. And as you begin to act from that place, as you say yes, again and again, even when you're afraid, something magical happens. You begin to align with divine timing. You begin to notice synchronicities. Doors open, people appear, clarity comes. The universe rearranges itself around your intention. You are not alone. You never were. There are others scattered across the planet remembering just like you. You'll find them. You'll recognize them, not by their looks or their words, but by the way your soul exhales in their presence. And together, slowly, gently, powerfully, you are weaving the new world. So trust this process, trust your soul, trust the unfolding. Everything you've lived, even the pain, especially the pain, was preparation. Nothing is wasted. Every heartbreak softened you, every failure humbled you, every ending freed you. So you could stand now not as a victim of the old world, but as a builder of the new. This is not the end, it's the beginning. The world needs your medicine, your voice, your frequency, your art, your love. Don't wait until you feel ready. You're ready now, you're needed now. So rise, beloved soul. The time for sleeping is over. The veil is lifting. The call is clear. The earth herself is calling you home, to your heart, to your truth, to your purpose. This is your moment. Answer it. There are moments in history that feel like tremors in the soul, waves that shake the foundations of what we thought was reality. These are the times when everything seems to be falling apart, yet something ancient and sacred is quietly rising beneath the rubble. We are living one of those moments now, a time when the world as we knew it no longer fits, when the stories we were told feel too small for the truth that burns inside our hearts. A time when millions are waking up to something greater, and if you're reading this, it's likely because you too have felt it, a shift, a calling, a whisper that says, it's time. But what does that really mean? What does it mean that your time has come? It means that the world is no longer asleep, and neither are you. It means that the veil that once separated the seen from the unseen is thinning, that what was once hidden is now being revealed. It means that the age of passive living is over, and the time for conscious soul-led living has arrived. For centuries, the world has moved through cycles, ages of light and darkness, birth and decay. Civilizations have risen and fallen. Religions have guided and misled. Power has shifted hands again and again. But underneath it all, the same eternal truth remained, that every soul carries a divine spark, and some souls are meant to awaken early, to guide others, to remind humanity of what was forgotten. You are one of those souls. Right now, as chaos erupts across nations, as systems collapse, as the earth herself cries out in fire, water, wind, and silence, something else is happening. A birth, a remembrance, the collective awakening of the chosen ones. This awakening doesn't look like a movie scene. There are no thunderous skies or burning bushes for most. It's much more subtle, yet far more profound. It's the moment you begin to question everything, when you start to feel uncomfortable in your routines, when what used to entertain you feels empty, when the job, the relationship, the lifestyle you built suddenly feels misaligned, when silence calls louder than noise, when restlessness grows inside, not because you're lazy or lost, but because your soul is preparing for flight. It's happening all over the world, in cities and villages, in the hearts of young children and the eyes of the elderly. It's not just a personal crisis, it's a planetary shift. Humanity is undergoing what many ancient traditions predicted, the rise of a new consciousness, the return of the sacred, the reawakening of the divine within. And this awakening isn't random, it's timed, it's part of the plan. The crises we see around us, the wars, the pandemics, the political polarization, the environmental disasters, aren't just random misfortunes. They are labor pains. They are the contractions of a world giving birth to a new paradigm. In spiritual terms, they are the breakdowns before the breakthrough. In cosmic terms, they are part of the divine orchestration that has always been unfolding. But not everyone feels it. Not everyone sees beyond the smoke. Not everyone recognizes the invitation hidden in the chaos. That's where the chosen ones come in. That's where you come in. Your time has come because the world needs what you carry. Not your perfection, but your presence. Not your status, but your soul. You're not here to be famous. You're here to be faithful. Faithful to your essence. Faithful to the vision you came with. Faithful to love, to truth, to compassion, even when the world chooses fear. Many of the chosen ones resisted this calling for years. They tried to fit in, to silence their gifts, to deny their sensitivities. They studied degrees they didn't love, stayed in relationships that drained them, worked jobs that dimmed their light. But the soul doesn't forget. And now, more than ever, it is rising to the surface. You may have noticed the symptoms: emotional waves you can't explain, heightened intuition, vivid dreams, sudden desires to change your life completely, a deep sense of urgency or a strange peace in the middle of chaos. You may have lost people recently, let go of what once defined you. These are not coincidences. These are the signs of initiation, the marks of awakening. The awakening is not just spiritual, it is total. It touches every layer of your being. Mentally, you begin to break free from limiting beliefs, from inherited patterns, from cultural conditioning. Emotionally, you begin to feel more deeply, cry more often, forgive more easily. Energetically, you start to sense vibrations, alignments, and dissonance between places, people, and choices. Spiritually, you begin to crave the sacred again, not as religion, but as a way of life. And this process is not always gentle. Sometimes awakening feels like destruction, like being ripped away from everything you once knew. And in many ways, it is, because the old must die for the new to be born. Illusions must be shattered so that truth can rise. Comfort zones must be left behind so that you can step into your destiny. That's why things feel strange right now. Why do you feel suspended between two worlds? One that no longer resonates and one that hasn't fully arrived. This in-between is sacred. It's the womb of transformation. It's the cocoon where the caterpillar dissolves before becoming the butterfly. It's where your ego panics, but your soul rejoices. Do not fear this space. Do not rush through it. Let it remake you. You are being prepared. You are not losing your mind. You are shedding your programming. You are not failing. You are evolving. You are not alone. Millions around the world are moving through the same sacred fire. You may not see them, but they are there. Dreaming, praying, creating, meditating, feeling, healing, and soon you will find each other. Because the chosen ones are not meant to walk alone. They are meant to gather, to connect, to rise as a web of light, weaving a new fabric of reality, one act of love at a time, one moment of presence, one whisper of truth. And yes, the world will try to distract you, the noise will be loud, the illusions will be persistent, fear will knock often, but remember, you are not your thoughts, you are not your fear, you are not the noise, you are the awareness behind it all. You are the watcher, the witness, the soul that chose to incarnate at this very moment for a reason. And that reason is not small. You are here to anchor light where there is darkness, to remind others of their sacredness, to carry codes of healing, creativity, compassion, and truth. Your very being is medicine. Your vibration changes rooms. Your silence heals more than words. But to live this truth, you must trust yourself, trust your path, trust the intelligence of your unfolding. There is no one right way to awaken, no checklist, no guru, only your own soul guiding you, whispering, nudging, loving you into remembering. So what does this remembrance look like in daily life? It looks like choosing rest over hustle, honesty over pretending, kindness over pride. It looks like walking barefoot, crying in the shower, saying no without guilt, saying yes to what scares you. It looks like writing poetry again, eating slowly, looking people in the eyes, meditating even when your mind screams, believing in miracles, even when the world rolls its eyes. It looks like becoming human again, soft again, sacred again, because the real revolution isn't external, it's internal, it's spiritual, and it starts with you. Not when you're perfect, not when you have a following, not when your finances are flawless. Now, in your messy, beautiful, uncertain, expanding now, this is the moment, this is the portal, this is the permission to be real, to be raw, to be radiant. The old world will tell you it's too late, that you're behind, that you're not ready. But the soul knows better. The soul knows divine timing. And this, beloved, is divine timing. Everything you've lived prepared you for this. Every detour, every heartbreak, every loss, every moment you thought you couldn't go on. It was never a punishment. It was preparation. So now, stand tall, not as someone who has it all figured out, but as someone who remembers who they truly are. A child of the cosmos, a carrier of light, a bringer of peace, a sacred storm, a divine instrument. You are not here to fix the system. You are here to create a new one, a new frequency, a new way of being, one where love is the foundation and truth is the compass. And as you do this, step by step, breath by breath, you will attract others on the same path. You will find your soul family, your allies, your mirrors, and together you will rise. Not to dominate, but to illuminate, not to preach, but to embody, not to escape the world, but to transform it from within. This is the path of the chosen. It is not easy, but it is sacred, and you were made to walk it. So rise, speak, love, heal, create, pray, cry when you need to, laugh without explanation, embrace what burns and what heals. Be human, deeply human, because there lies the door to the divine. Remember, awakening doesn't mean perfection, it means presence. It is not a destination, but a way of walking. It's not about being the wisest, but the most honest with yourself. And in that honesty, in that vulnerability, in that unmasked surrender, the true miracle occurs. You begin to live from the soul. And when you do, everything shifts. Maybe not right away, maybe not outwardly, but within. The way you see changes. What you value changes. Your rhythm changes, your priorities, your silence. You begin to see with new eyes, feel with an open heart, touch the world with hands that bless. What once wounded you now teaches you. What once scared you now pushes you to grow. You're not here to stay asleep. You are here to awaken others simply by your presence, by your way of loving, by your way of living. You're here to remind the world that beauty is still possible, that hope is still real, that peace can still be born in the midst of everything. So don't doubt anymore, don't hide anymore, don't postpone the inevitable. The sacred is seeking you. Life is calling you. The time is now, not tomorrow, not when you've figured it all out, not when you feel stronger. Now, right in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the doubt, in the depth of your humanity, because this is the true calling of the chosen ones, not to escape this world, but to descend fully into it, with soul, with fire, with tenderness, to plant light where there was shadow, to be a bridge, a beacon, fertile ground for a new beginning. This is your time. Breathe, receive it, walk toward it with your heart open, and remember, you are not alone. You never were. You've always been part of the plan. You've always been part of the promise, and now that promise is waking up in you. You were never born to burn out. You were never chosen to collapse in exhaustion, chasing shadows in a race that was never meant for your soul. The world may glorify hustle, may preach the gospel of endless grinding and sleepless nights, but you, chosen one, were not placed here to die in pursuit of what you already carry inside. You are not a machine built for deadlines. You are not a cog in a cold system. You are not currency in someone else's pocket. You are a living, breathing temple of divine energy, a sacred worker assigned to sacred work, and that changes everything. The hustle of the chosen is not like the hustle of the lost. The sacred hustle does not start with pressure, it begins with presence. It does not chase results like a desperate beggar, it magnetizes them like royalty already seated at the throne. It does not beg for validation, it carries vibration. It does not exhaust, it expands. When you operate from divine identity, everything changes. Every task becomes a transmission. Every project becomes a prophecy. Every offering becomes an altar. You stop doing things just to survive, and you start doing things to serve. And when service becomes your strategy, you step into a current of power that the world cannot imitate. You become unstoppable, not because you're overworking, but because you're overflowing. Overflow, not overwork. That is the sacred rhythm of the chosen. You see, there is a divine blueprint for how the chosen ones are meant to work, and it has always been encoded in our design. You feel it when you're creating and time disappears. You feel it when your soul whispers yes, even before your mind has figured out why. You feel it when you're energized after doing something instead of drained. That is divine alignment. That is the fingerprint of the sacred hustle. This kind of work isn't work as the world defines it. It's worship, it's prayer in motion, it's obedience with wings. The moment you stop hustling to impress and start hustling to express, you tap into the eternal current of divine purpose, and that current never runs dry. It's like a river flowing through your spine, like fire dancing in your voice, like lightning coded into your footsteps. You become a force of nature wrapped in skin, not because you're trying harder, but because you're finally being who you are without apology. The world will try to seduce you with distractions, will try to lure you into comparison, will make you think you have to compete, climb, and crawl for crumbs. But the chosen ones don't compete, we create. We don't beg, we bless. We don't perform, we pour. When you start working from a place of knowing who you are, your output multiplies, your peace deepens, your joy stabilizes, and your results accelerate. And not because you hustled harder, but because you aligned deeper. Alignment is the antidote to burnout. Burnout is not proof of commitment, it's evidence of disconnection. It's what happens when your body keeps saying yes to things your soul never agreed to. It's what happens when your calendar is full, but your heart is empty. But divine work doesn't empty you, it fills you. It may stretch you, yes, but it won't shatter you. It may challenge you, but it won't consume you. You'll know it's divine because it makes you feel more alive, not less. You'll know it's sacred because it wakes something holy in you, even on the hardest days. There is a myth that to be successful, you must suffer. But the real truth is that the most radiant forms of wealth come when you honor your soul and stop working against yourself. The sacred hustle isn't lazy, it's strategic, it's spirit-led, it's disciplined, it's focused. But it's never frantic. It's never forced. It doesn't trade your peace for productivity. It doesn't require you to sacrifice your joy at the altar of someone else's timeline. Sacred hustle means you move when the Spirit says move, and you rest when the Spirit says rest. It means you trust divine timing more than human pressure. It means your rhythm is your revelation. There's a divine technology embedded inside of you, and when you activate it, you begin to operate like heaven on earth. You start setting intentions, not just deadlines. You start creating from clarity, not confusion. You start saying no without guilt and yes without fear. You start magnetizing opportunities because your frequency is right. And that frequency is love. That frequency is trust. That frequency is truth. When you live from that place, your work multiplies not because you're doing more, but because your energy is clean. And clean energy creates fast results. The sacred hustle isn't about doing all the things, it's about doing the right things with the right heart at the right time. It's about knowing what is yours and leaving the rest to the dust. It's about pruning distractions, honoring your seasons, and knowing that slow is not failure when you're building something eternal. We've been lied to. We've been told that urgency equals importance, but not everything urgent is divine. Sometimes the holiest thing you can do is pause. Sometimes the most powerful strategy is to rest until your soul returns to the center. Because only from the center can you build something that won't collapse. Moses didn't run. Jesus didn't rush. The prophets weren't panicking to meet monthly metrics. They moved in rhythm with the divine breath. They were synchronized with source. They didn't burn out because they were burning with purpose. Sacred hustle is fire with form, energy with embodiment, calling with clarity. When you start moving like that, you stop working for approval and start moving from assignment. That changes how you show up. That changes how you speak. That changes how you sell. That changes how you structure your days. Everything becomes infused with intention. You stop grinding and you start gliding. You start building like a master architect who knows the blueprint is already finished in heaven, and you're just bringing it to earth one step at a time. You're not rushing, you're revealing. You're not striving, you're stewarding. You're not panicking, you're planting. And the harvest is guaranteed, not because of your hustle, but because of your harmony. Your destiny doesn't require you to die in the process. It requires you to come alive in the process. You are not called to break yourself for the sake of building a dream. You are called to let the dream build you. Let it shape you. Let it refine you. Let it call out the gold in you. But never let it drain you to the point where you forget your worth. You can be both powerful and peaceful. You can be both focused and fluid. You can be both determined and surrendered. You can build with holy fire and still honor your breath. That's the divine paradox. That's the sacred hustle. And that's what the chosen ones are being called into now. No more burnout disguised as bravery. No more martyrdom masquerading as ambition. No more abandoning your body to chase a future you already own. This is your time to work differently, to move differently, to lead differently. You don't need to fight for a seat at the table. You are the table. You are the feast. You are the host. You are the invitation. And when you live like that, everything you create becomes an offering to the world and a reminder of heaven. This isn't a motivational speech. This is a spiritual call, a wake-up, a divine alignment moment. The chosen ones are rising not just to be wealthy, but to be well. Not just to be productive, but to be prophetic. Not just to be visible, but to be vital. This new era is not for burnt-out builders. It's for rested revolutionaries, for radiant leaders, for rooted creators, for those who know that sacred hustle is not about proving your worth. It's about pouring your soul into what's already worthy. And you, chosen one, are already worthy. You always have been. The time is now. Heaven is hiring. The kingdom is expanding. The world is hungry. But this time, you will not work the old way. This time, you will not build with bitterness. This time, you will not hustle with heaviness. This time, you will work from the well of divine energy that never runs dry, the well that lives inside your own belly, the fire that flickers in your voice, the light that dances in your gaze. You will not break, you will build, you will not faint, you will flow, you will not compete, you will create, and you will do it not by burning out, but by burning bright, with a sacred hustle that is rooted in love, filled with clarity, aligned with purpose, and soaked in the frequency of abundance. There is a kind of wealth that does not decay, that no thief can touch, that no market can crash, that no man can counterfeit. There is a currency from the higher realms, an inheritance that is written in light, a prosperity encoded into your spiritual DNA that cannot be taken, only awakened. And now, chosen ones, it is your time. Your time to stop chasing temporary riches that rust and start receiving eternal wealth that radiates, the kind that multiplies in peace, the kind that flows through alignment, the kind that transforms atmospheres, shifts legacies, heals families, and finances visions that will ripple into eternity. This isn't hype, this is holy. This is not wishful thinking, this is divine remembering. The rise of eternal wealth has begun, and it starts with you. You are not meant to live in lack. You are not destined for scarcity. You are not called to settle for survival when your birthright is overflow. The ones who carry light are meant to shine without apology, and the ones who carry vision are meant to fund it without fear. Your father is not broke. The universe is not in debt. Heaven is not worried about inflation. So why should you be? The economy of the kingdom is not subject to the chaos of the world. The vaults of eternity are never empty. There is more than enough, not just for your needs, but for your dreams, for your assignments, for your children's children, for the communities you're called to bless. This is abundance that overflows from your soul into your systems, from your heart into your hands, from your identity into your impact. This is what eternal wealth looks like. Prosperity that begins inside and manifests outside. Wealth that expands when shared. Riches that are rooted in righteousness. Power that comes with peace. Overflow that doesn't just bless you, but breaks chains around you. This is the wealth of the chosen. But to rise into it, you must first rise out of every lie you've believed about money, about yourself, about God. The lie that says you must suffer to be spiritual. The lie that says it's humble to stay broke. The lie that says you're not ready, not worthy, not equipped. Those are chains. Break them, burn them, bury them. You can be holy and wealthy. You can be spiritual and strategic. You can be generous and abundant. You can be deeply rooted in divine truth and still receive payment in full. That is the way of the chosen. We don't chase money, we attract resources. We don't serve mammon, we steward purpose. We don't compromise for coins, we create from calling. Eternal wealth is not about greed, it's about grace. It's not about hoarding, it's about holding space for others to thrive. It's not about status, it's about service. When you rise into that frequency, you begin to live in such flow that money becomes a byproduct of mission, not the mission itself. Money becomes your servant, not your master. It shows up to support the vision, not to distort it. And that shift in power changes everything. No longer will you build from fear. No longer will you operate in desperation. No longer will you accept crumbs when you were created for feasts. You are rising now, and as you rise, the old patterns must fall. The poverty mindset must be replaced with divine trust. The scarcity scripts must be rewritten with sacred truth. Your nervous system must begin to believe what your soul already knows. You are safe to receive. You are worthy to expand. You are designed to prosper, not just someday, today, not just spiritually, but holistically. Your bank account is a mirror of your beliefs, and now those beliefs are being upgraded. Not to flaunt, but to flow. Not to impress, but to impact. Not to dominate, but to deliver. You are the channel, the vessel, the portal through which heaven funds healing, through which purpose is financed, through which legacy is built. Eternal wealth isn't just about money, it's about energy, authority, clarity, and peace. It's about your ability to walk into any room and know that you carry what can't be bought, that your presence is power, that your ideas are gold, that your integrity is wealth, that your time is treasure. And when you begin to walk like that, speak like that, invest like that, rest like that, everything around you begins to shift. Opportunities align, divine connections are magnetized, resources chase you down, and you don't have to force it because it's already yours. This is not manifesting from ego, this is remembering from eternity. This is what it means to live as one who knows they are chosen. You walk different, you price your work different, you hold your boundaries different, you build your business different, because you know that you're not just making money, you're making history. You're not just building wealth, you're building altars. You're not just growing profits, you're growing portals for others to encounter their own liberation. That is why it's your time, not just to get rich, but to get right. Not just to level up, but to live up to the truth of who you are. This is about redemption, about healing the way we see money, the way we see power, the way we see ourselves. This is about reclaiming sacred economics, about moving from survival mode into sacred stewardship, about anchoring heaven's abundance into earth's reality. You were not born to hustle for scraps. You were born to host the banquet. You are the banker of heaven's brilliance. You are the distributor of divine answers. You are the miracle someone's been praying for. And when you step into your role fully, money becomes the tool, not the goal. It moves through you like breath, like oil, like wind. And everywhere it goes, it heals, it frees, it elevates. So what does it take to rise into eternal wealth? It takes vision, it takes intention, it takes healing, it takes truth, it takes surrender, it takes bold action led by inner stillness. It takes unlearning the noise of capitalism and learning the melody of the kingdom. It takes saying yes to divine timing even when it looks slower than the world's standards. It takes radical trust in the source, not the system. And it takes community. Because eternal wealth was never meant to be hoarded, it was meant to be shared. This is not a solo climb. This is a collective resurrection. The chosen ones are rising together, supporting each other, collaborating, not competing, blessing each other in secret, elevating each other in spirit. This is not a pyramid, it's a garden. Everyone has a place, everyone gets to eat, everyone gets to grow. That's eternal wealth, that's the future, that's what we're building now. And yes, the tests will come. The enemy of your soul will try to distract you, delay you, discourage you. But you are not the same person you were before. You are rooted now. You are wise now. You are surrounded now. You have angels in your corner and ancestors in your bloodstream. You have clarity in your heart and courage in your spine. You are backed by the infinite, funded by the invisible, and everything you need is already within reach. You only have to receive it, not from ego, but from essence, not from pressure, but from peace, not from striving, but from stillness. You are allowed to prosper, you are allowed to enjoy, you are allowed to expand, you are allowed to overflow. So take the steps, make the moves, say yes, hold the line, plant the seed, build the thing, open the door, share the wisdom, speak the truth, honor the vision, break the mold, and do it all with the knowing that eternal wealth is not just coming, it's here, it's in your clarity, it's in your courage, it's in your consistency,